I mean, pretty much I always thought the British and the Soviets had cooler tanks than the Americans did. Obviously, the Germans had the coolest, but the this one here is the ISU 152 in particular. This was a monster right here. And you got plenty of. You're gonna have a lot more pictures of tigers on the Eastern Front because there were more of them there. Okay, and then remember there were not a ton of them. So yeah, you get the SU 152, pretty nifty tank. Tank, I guess, self-propelled gun, assault gun. Um, and then the ISU 52, bigger version, thicker armor. You know, a lot more formidable, right? You couldn't even knock it out with the 75 from the front. So yeah, the Panther 75. Of course, the 88 had to get a little closer. These were pretty formidable weapons. In particular, yeah, look at that thing, man. Like, whoa, I even. And they show the back. Here's the picture I was trying to compare. Look at these dudes next to those slovenly Americans. You wonder why. You got a lot of cool. I mean, there's photos I still have never seen. Look at that. You see the battles where, yeah, this ISU 152 is pretty nasty, right here. Tiger crews appreciated their ability to take on German armor. The blast effect from its high explosive shell was enough to blow the turret off a Tiger and cause a lot of damage. And here's a picture of, this T-34 must have got him from behind. I always like the Russians. They're always on there like, what is that? Like, they're all like riding the thing. How many of these dudes got blown to bits or fell off under the treads? Well, I guess we'll never know. But yeah, this was a monster, right? And it was painted in the propaganda as the antidote to the Tiger. Look at that thing. In reality, though, when you actually look at the battles, the Soviets lost a lot more of those than they lost Tigers, and then the documented encounters between the two, the Tigers still had an edge of almost 2 or 3 to 1 of these things. Of course, there weren't that many Tigers. The majority of the tanks you're fighting, even on the Eastern Front, are going to be Panzer IVs, right? Or Panthers, right? But regardless, look at that, nice. Scary. You know, it's funny how the Russian tanks, since the Cold War, they look kind of ugly, right? But the Russian tanks, the Soviet tanks in World War II were pretty, right, pretty nifty looking. Yeah. Of course, at the end, you know, there's no match. They're gonna get ground up, the Germans, because you're fighting the whole world. So, right, we'll round it out with the King Tiger, right? The Tiger, the Tiger II, versus the Joseph Stalin II, the heavy tank. And you see a lot of the fighting, particularly in Pomerania, right? That's where one of my ancestors died. The older man, I saw a picture of him. I don't know his exact name, and I have to ask my mom again. He had a mustache. Like, he was an older guy. He was in the First War, and he was not from this area, but he, I don't know. I don't think he was a Volkssturm guy. I think he was a Volk Grenadier, actually. And he died in one of these battles, holding off the Soviets. And even the mighty Joseph Stalin tank, the Panzerfaust could take out every armored vehicle you see. And you got a cool here. This is how they would use the Soviets would do the attacks. They'd have the IS-2s and the ISU 152s I just showed you in the back. There's the IS-2. It's a cool ass tank. So obviously, you know who I'm rooting for, but it's a much cruder tank. Like I said, you see this manlet here. I think I have seen this. This used to be in that tank museum that was up in Danbury, Connecticut, where the owner eventually somehow got shot by the police, and they took all this stuff and sent it to Long Island, to what is it? I forgot what Bethpage. But this was the one they had. This, obviously, the Americans got their hands on this. So this is one of those IS-2s that got knocked out. Probably where the lines blurred between where the Americans and the Soviets were. And the Americans probably said, hey, you know what? Let's take this Soviet tank, and see what it's all about. And they took this back. There was a hole in the middle of the manlet. It got hit by a 75. And killed, I think, the crew in the turret anyway. The thing with the IS-2 also was that there was no hatch in the front, right? And then you get on the tank here. There was no hatch in the front, so if you're the driver, just like with the T-34, you're gonna have problems when you get hit. So, and also like the rate of fire was always too slow with these things. And I had a 122 millimeter gun, but there wasn't really too many battles between these. Also, in the back, of course, as you know, the King Tiger too. I don't even have to bring this up. The Koenigs Tiger. I don't even have to bring up how cool this is. And you got all, you know, like even with these IS-2s, the Germans, they defeated the Soviets even in the East, even when they were getting close in Poland and Hungary, and even East Prussia. The Soviets, a lot of attacks still got annihilated by the Germans. So look at that. But regardless, it's only a matter of time. Numbers. You can't fight the world, right? Or can you fight the world? You just gotta do it differently, I guess. But and it's funny too. The one engagement between the King Tiger too and one of these, the King Tiger, or those cool things. The King Tiger shot and destroyed one of the IS-2s, and the two other twos that were behind it, when they saw it, the crews abandoned their vehicles and disappeared. They got scared, right? But like I said, it was only a matter of time. So anyway, the Joseph Stalin 3, which you never saw, which never made it to the war, but was in the victory parade in Berlin on that sad day. That was a cool looking tank, the Joseph Stalin 3, the IS-3. But anyway, this is it, man. Tiger versus all their opponents, but in the end, this is still the king, right? This is the one that everyone remembers. This is the number one tank model that you have in the East amongst the Chinese and the Japanese. They know. Even, you know, they know who the real winner is. Later.